So you bought Doom 3, admittedly an older game, and you put it on your brand new computer that has a widescreen monitor on it, and you pop open the game and you see this. Still looks good, but it's letterbox. In my case, I'm running 1080 by 1920. I want this thing to fit the entire screen. Originally, I thought it was simply a matter of going into the options and looking at screen size and changing that, but as we can see, sadly, we don't have our setting. Just for the heck of it, we can change it to 16 by 1200, apply changes, but unfortunately that particular setting is still going to give us this letterbox. We don't want that. So what to do? Well, we're going to get out of the game. So there are at least two ways to get Doom 3 to run in widescreen. One way is to actually go in with a text editor and edit the actual Doom config file. We'll look at that next. But before we do that, let's have a look to see how we can change that resolution within the game. So let's pop into the game here real quick. Alright, so let's just skip over this loud introduction part. Alright, so once in game, what we want to do is open the command line. So we're just going to press Control-Alt-Title key. This is on PC, by the way. And that's going to open up this window here. And this is a very powerful interface that we use for putting in key vals and various dev commands. We're going to see this more and more as we get into videos modding on Doom 3. So there's going to be three lines that we're going to type in here. The first one that we want to put in here is R_aspect ratio, and what we want to put in as a value is a number 1. Now there's actually three numbers we can put in here. If we put in a 0, that's going to give us a television aspect ratio of 4:3. If we put in number 1, our ratio is going to be 16 by 9, which is a widescreen. That's what we want. And finally, we can put in a number 2, which is going to give us a display ratio of 16 by 10. Sometimes the game does default aspect ratio to 1, but we're going to change it just to make sure. So every time you put in a command, just make sure you hit enter. You'll see it turn blue, and that means that it took. The next one we're going to input here is R_custom height, and just make sure that you put in the capital H because it is case sensitive. So we're going to put a space there, and we're going to put 1080, and once again we're going to hit enter. Now, one handy little command here is if you use the arrow keys, the up arrow, it brings up the last command that we typed in here. It just saves us a few keystrokes. So the next thing we're going to put in is R_custom width, and again, pay attention to the capital W, space 1920. We're going to hit enter. And then the final thing we want to put in here is R_mode space, and we're going to put in a -1. Make sure you put the -1 in there, very important, otherwise this is not going to work. So we're going to hit enter. Now we're going to get out of the command line here simply by hitting title, and let's get out of Doom 3. And then once we go back into it, it should be in widescreen, and there it is. Okay, so I'm just going to restore my Doom 3 back to pillar box, back to the stock version, and then we can take a look to see how we can do this by editing the Doom config file. So just stay with me and I'll be right back. Alright, so we've reset our Doom 3 back into pillar box to the stock settings, and let's have a look to see how we can change this to widescreen by editing the Doom config file. So let's jump out of here and have a look at that. So here we are, we've quit out of Doom 3, we're on our desktop. I'm running Windows 10, so we're just going to go to File Explorer. What you want to do is you want to find where your Steam app is, wherever you've installed that. I happen to have installed it on a D drive, and you're looking for, well, I put it in my downloads folder, and this is the one we're looking for, Steam apps. Yours might be in the C drive. Find your Steam apps folder, basically. Pop that open, you want to go into common, and your game should be listed there. I've only got Doom 3 installed, so we're going to open Doom 3, we want to go into base, and just have a look here to see the file folder that I'm in. Once we're in here, we should be able to find a file called Doom config. Don't get it mixed up with the config file. Doom config is the one we want. It's a simple text file. We're going to do a little bit of editing in it, just 4 lines. First thing to do is to back that up in case you start modifying your game files and it basically blows up your game and it breaks the game and you can't run it. You can always restore. So I'm going to copy that file. I'm going to paste it just here onto my desktop. I don't normally put files on the desktop, but for illustrative purposes we'll just stick it there. So again, you can always put it back into this folder in case you break this one. So we're going to pop this open if you're having a problem opening it, in Windows, right click on your mouse, left click, open with. Any text editor will do, even simple WordPad, just to show you how easy this is. So we're going to pop WordPad open. We're going to edit 4 lines. You can see there's a few commands in here. You can scroll down, try and find these lines like a putz, or just go Control F. What we're doing is just we're finding keywords. So what we're going to find first here is a line called r_custom width. So I'm just going to search for width. I'll go find next. And there's the line that we're looking for. So, no, that's not actually the line we're looking for. We're looking for, that's the one, our custom width. You can see we messed around trying 1600 by 12. It still gave us that kind of quasi letterbox look. So we're going to change this. So we're running a width of, a height of 1080. Oops, 1080. Can't type today. 1080 and 1920. So just change the height and width there. Again, to match whatever setting you want. I don't know if all settings work, whether you'll get sort of a wide screen, but this should work. 1080 by 1920. So those 2 lines are done. Next one we want to find is a setting called r_aspect ratio. So I'm just going to search for aspect ratio. One word. Find next. And there's the one we're looking for, aspect ratio. Yours might be defaulting to do something different, but 1 is what you want. Now there's 3 different numbers you can put in here for different aspect ratios. If you type in a 0, you get aspect ratio of 4:3. 1 is ours, which is 16:9 widescreen. That's what we want. If you're running in display mode, you'll want to put a number 2 in there, which will give you a 16 by 10 ratio. One more line that we want to edit, that's _mode. So we're just going to search for mode here real quick. That's not the one, that's not the one, that's not the one. There it is right there, r_mode. Now yours might default to 3 or 8 or some other number. What we want to do in here is put -1. Make sure you put -1, otherwise it doesn't work. And this basically tells the game that when it starts to run, that there's going to be a custom setting here of some sort. So we're going to save that file. I'm just going to hit Control S. You can just hit save here as well. So we've just basically edited 4 lines and that's done. So that's the configuration file set up. Now we're going to try to go back into the game to show that it worked, but again, the game, GeForce Experience might just go wonky if I try to go from desktop to game, but we'll try it. So anyways, I'll go back into the game, Doom 3, and if all goes right, we should have widescreen, glorious old game in widescreen, folks. That's that simple. So just be careful when you're messing with your config files. Again, you can always go back to your default if you break the game. So if you find Doom 3 modding and level editing interesting, we've got a bunch of videos coming up in a couple of different series. We're going to also do a Doom 3 walkthrough. That's going to be coming up right away, and we'll be releasing videos. And we're also going to do a few more videos on modding Doom 3, and we're going to definitely delve into that amazing editor that ships with that game. That same editor that the developers at id built all kinds of great games. Doom 3, Resurrection of Evil, BFG, Quake 4, Quake Wars, Wolfenstein 2009, and Brink 2011. All those major games were released on this same editor that we've got access to. The series is going to be great for anybody who's interested in level design, especially young people that don't have a lot of money, because I bought Doom 3 for $1.65 Canadian. I actually threw in Resurrection Evil for another, I think it was $1.50. So for under $4, 2 great games and that amazing editor. So if you're interested in that, why not subscribe to the channel and hit that alert button. That'll give you alerts when we have new videos coming up, and we're going to be publishing those fairly regularly coming up real soon. We're also planning on doing a playthrough of a modern game. We've got BF5 that we're looking at, or we might just hold out for Resident Evil 2, the remake. That one looks really good. So we're going to have a playthrough of that coming up as well. So hope you can join me, and I really appreciate it. If you can support the channel, that'd be fantastic. We're just getting started, and we're really excited to be in the community, and we really hope that you can join us for this great journey.